Bartholdi, joined by Paul Chion here in the Tournament Center, and we are about to watch 8-0 player, the only one left in the entire room, Adriano Moscato's draft. Here's a look at the table here of our feature pod. There's Adriano. We just saw Paul Rizzo, so you can get an idea of what happened around the table. Let's take a look at his draft. So Paul Rizzo ended up kind of like black, red pirates, maybe blue in there.
Yeah, it seems to me that just their team just decided that they just wanted to take all the 2-for-1s. For example, Adriano, there's 0% chance he's going to see any recovers in the entire draft.
That's accurate.
All right.
Well, let's take a look at his first pack here and his rare.
Not a lot of great cards yet, but we have Warkite Marauder, and I don't think I saw anything that's just quite on that level. I think it's just generally considered better than most of the commons that you could take, even though there are a lot of high-quality premium removal cards at common. But the Warkite Marauder is an excellent place to start. I think a lot of teams just had blue as actually the best color, which is like the first time in a long time.
Yes.
But blue is considered one of the stronger colors, and it also synergizes nicely with a lot of other commons in the set. I like the combination of Warkite Marauder plus Fanatical Firebrand or Tillinolli's Crown.
Absolutely. So that is going to be the pickup there for Adriano. Warkite Marauder. Pretty good first pick.
Yeah, and actually he is passing to Michael Agamba, who actually opened a Profane Procession.
Yes, we saw
So you know he's going to take that. So you have one of two things you can do. You can either cut him off, or just try to play friendly and then just kind of avoid those colors.
All right, let's see which direction Moscato wants to go in here. There's a Direfleet Neckbreaker shuffled to the front there. I see a Moment of Craving as well as a Relentless Raptor.
So, you know, I think it's probably between the Moment of Craving and the Neckbreaker here. The Relentless Raptors is kind of 2 colors off from his first pick, and you kind of want to still preserve that first pick in the Warkite Marauder. I like Moment of Craving because, you know, it kind of keeps you a little more open. If black's open, you can still just play the Moment of Craving. If not, you can switch to the Warkite Marauder. I think taking the Neckbreaker, just starting out immediately in 3 colors, despite being kind of in the pirate colors, it's still a little bit rough. I generally prefer taking the single color powerful card over the gold ones.
And Moment of Craving, just premium removal.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many just good 2-mana evasive creatures in the format. Moment of Craving is excellent there.
Well, if he wants to go in on vampires, now is the time. Legion, Lieutenant, and Baffling End.
I thought one of those cards would have been taken. This was Paul Rizzo's pack. He took a Moment of Craving over Legion's Lieutenant and also the Baffling End. So I thought for sure the person he was passing to would take one of those 2 cards. So that's got to be a sign. When you see a 3rd pick Legion Lieutenant, that might be a reasonable sign to just go, you know what? I think black-white might be open. I think I want to take the Lieutenant. But it looks like Adriano might look to be still just stay open, just take the good removal spell, and not look to be in a specific tribe. But I'd be really tempted to take that Lieutenant out of that pack.
So would I. How much credence do you put Profane Procession on from your opponent?
You know what? Honestly, it's like you're the person passing to the Procession.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you got it, but I'm passing to you. I'm going to see more of the good cards coming from the other side. So, you know, I don't mind fighting there.
There's a Snubhorn Sentry in this pack, which some players rate more highly than others. Stampeding Horncrest pulled to the front here. Fathom Fleet Border, a 3/3 for 3.
Yeah, Fathom Fleet Border is a pretty decent card. He does have the Moment of Craving already. Looks like he wants to take that. There are a couple of decent options at red as well, but it looks like he just wants to kind of cut off black as much as he can.
Fathom Fleet Border is the pickup there. Looking through here, I see a Dust Charger in black. There is also a Martyr of Dusk and a Sun Sentinel.
Yeah, a lot of great 2-drops there. I love me a Martyr of Dusk, especially if I'm in the Vampire tribe. But it's just a good card by itself, in any white deck. The Dust Charger does kind of continue to solidify him in black. And I've actually been really impressed by that card. You first look at it, and you're just like, whatever, 4 mana, 3/3.
Just your average horse.
But just like everybody talked, you know, Ascend is much easier to actually get than you would think.
All right, Martyr of Dusk is going to be the pickup here for Adriano. Might be moving in on vampires.
He might, but passing that Legion Lieutenant, that is a little bit rough.
Moment of Triumph here, but that's the only white card in this whole pack.
It is. Moment of Triumph is a nice combat trick. I'm a pretty big fan, especially in a format that's a little bit faster, that's looking to race. I like me a combat trick that can also gain a little bit of life. But if you want to shift gears and maybe go into something like red-white, I could see taking something like a C-red, because I think that's actually quite a strong aura.
Well, he's going to go with the Moment of Triumph here, kind of planting his flag in the white waters here. Yeah. In this pack, at least.
Just cut it. It's like, look, you opened a Profane Procession. Yeah. I'm not going to give you a little more power. Can you imagine, by the way, sitting in a draft table and just having somebody at the table just open that, and you're just like, I'm 8-0 at the Pro Tour, but I know I got to beat this at some point. Yeah.
Sun Sentinel here in the pack for Moscato.
Yeah, it's more of a filler card. You know, there are a lot more powerful cards, and he looks like he actually went for the Riverwise Augur there.
Wow.
I mean, it is a nice little value creature, but that is the first blue card. Maybe he's just taking it. If he sees more blue cards, he can kind of move in. But here I actually see a Sanguine Glorifier.
Yeah, not bad at all.
And he does have a few vampires already, and he has a few black cards, so that's probably the card that I'd be looking to take here.
And that is the pick for Moscato, Sanguine Glorifier. I mean, it does a nice job. It's a fine body on its own, and it pumps up one of your vampires.
Yeah, especially if you're a vampire, if you're just drafting the vampire deck, you often have a target for that. And for 4 mana, you're getting 4 power and 4 toughness worth of stats, which is really strong at common.
All right, taking a look through here, the last few cards of the pack, it looks like he's interested in Hornswoggle, the best named card of the set, I must say.
Yeah, I think he probably just took it for the name, just to be honest.
Just to make Marshall say it in the booth later, fingers crossed.
Hornswoggle, please.
One time.
One time.
All right, well, Cleansing Ray would be a pretty good sideboard card.
Yeah. I think that given that there's just a lot of great removal just kind of in the aura slot because you want to turn on Ascend, Water Knot, Luminous Bonds. I think this is just having a disenchant effect is actually very strong. And Vampires is also just one of the stronger tribes in the set. So
Suncrested Pterodon, where are you on this card?
So I'm a big fan of this card. Oftentimes when you're drafting kind of like the Ascend deck or a Dinosaur deck, Snubborn Sentry.
Right?
Dinosaur.
There it is. Speaking of, there he is.
There you go. There you have it. We have big snubs along with the Pterodon. So that's just a nice little 1-2 package. Yeah. Get to play a little defense and offense. I'm kind of liking where, Moscato's going. He didn't really go hard on the vampire tribes.
No.
It looks like he's just trying to take good cards, take the removal spells, and then just try to get to the late game with all, some powerful Ascend cards.
So how do you feel about a deck that's comprised, not of a tribe here in Rivals? Is it inherently weaker than one that is?
Well, I think, yeah, the ceiling for like the best tribal deck is, you can get a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in this format, you can just pick up just these Ascend cards kind of late. And if you just, draft accordingly, those cards end up being just as powerful as any of the tribal synergies. I think actually Andrea Mengucci was talking about how, I actually kind of don't mind drafting black-white, not vampires, because everybody's going to fight for vampires. Just take removal spells, good creatures, and Ascend cards, and you can still get there. And if you look at his deck, that's what it is.
He's doing.
Yeah.
Blue-white looks to be where he's going. He's going to keep that Moment of Craving in there. He's kind of peeled some of the other cards off and put them in a pile behind his deck. But it looks to be blue-white at the moment, which is one of the decks that I'm actually really a really big fan of in Rivals of Ixalan. It's not a tribe at all, but you can do some really cool stuff with it.
Yeah, it looks like he kind of shifted gears, just kind of realizing that black wasn't especially open. And that makes sense. Paul Riesel, too, to his left, did take almost mono-black cards in the first pack. And, he did see a pretty late Riverwise Augur. So it looks like he's trying to shift into blue-white. He still has that Moment of Craving there because there are a lot of ways to make treasure. You're looking to take cards like Sailor of Means, so he has that as an option. One thing that is actually a little bit surprising to me earlier is he did have a few opportunities to take Sailor of Means, but he opted to take something else instead.
Sailor of Means is kind of like the story of draft here at this Pro
weird.
Tour.
It's a very controversial card. Like, everybody knows it's decent, but some people take it really high.
Yeah.
And some people are just like, you know what, this is a free card. I'm going to probably get it 7th or 8th.
All right, heading into pack 2 here for Moscato, will be interesting to see where he goes. I mean, some people have been doing kind of the blue-white sort of hexproof, load up with auras deck, perhaps blue-white skies. He has that Warkite Marauder. So plenty of directions yet for Moscato to go.
Yeah. It's really weird because, like, kind of going into the set, there were the 4 tribes, right? So, and then all of a sudden people are saying blue-white is good. It's like, well, that's not really a tribe.
No.
Well, Ascend is kind of like a tribal mechanic, So we're going blue-white tribal and payoff.
Whoa.
This is exactly the type of payoff you want when you're looking to draft the Ascend deck with cards like Sailor of Means. You have access to treasure. You want to just open ridiculous rares and just splash them. Tender Shoe Dryad, top of that list.
Ridiculous rare achieved. I've played this card. It is almost unbeatable, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes, like I was at the Team China Fireball Limited meeting, and they'll have like the best uncommon, which is probably Ravenous Chupacabra.
Sure.
And then we'll have a stack of rares that's just better than Chupacabra. Don't even think about it. That was certainly one of those cards.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. It would be hard for me not to just just be a little bit happy about getting that Tender Shoe Dryad.
No, we're just looking at Moscato here. Face of steel.
Cool as a cucumber, 8-0 at the Pro Tour, no big deal.
All right, there's another neck breaker in this pack, but I feel like we have passed that up.
Yeah. So here I'm looking at
I'm
probably looking at either Crashing Tide or Secrets of the Golden City. Generally in the blue kind of slower control decks, I do like having like 1 or 2 copies of Secrets of the Golden City just to kind of make sure you're ahead on cards. But Crashing Tide is also a pretty nice interactive spell, and he's not really high on just kind of interaction. So I could see him just taking the Crashing Tide there. People are going to probably say, well, you don't have any Merfolk. Well, this card is actually totally fine even though you can play it at sorcery speed.
Oh, is he thinking about going into green? Jungleborn Pioneer, shuffle to the front? That's what he takes.
That's really surprising to me because in the first pack, we saw almost no green cards. I thought it'd just be more likely that you'd be looking to splash the card there and just look to take a blue card there instead. That was a little bit surprising, actually, but he sees another Pioneer here.
There's another one, and you know, if you're trying to get to Ascend, it's a card that helps you, but there's a Deadeye Rig Hauler in here as well.
Yeah, and there's a Reaver Ambush, which is likely the best card in the pack, but you know, he's already got a Tendershoot Dryad that he wants to splash. Splashing both green and black is a little bit dicey. Really interesting thing to see, you know, kind of what he goes for there. Given that he took a Jungleborn Pioneer, he might look to take another one, but he could also take a Divine Verdict because he does have a bunch of white cards. I think that's the card he's kind of most solidly in. So it looks like he's going for that here in this pack.
All right, Divine Verdict is the pickup here for Adriano Moscato, our lone 8-0 player here on day 2. Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan. Taking a look here. What he's got in this pack, Crafty Cut Purse, not exactly what you're looking to do.
You can't pass that recover, right? You just...
Well, Paul Rietzel certainly did.
Oh, he probably got that recover late. So there's a few options here. You know, I don't actually know exactly what his curve looks like. If he wants to kind of muck up the ground a little bit, he does have a few Ascend cards. I could see taking a card like Gleaming Barrier. If you do manage to trade, you get that treasure, which allows you to splash. And there's really not a whole lot of options for him there.
Yeah, Gleaming Barrier, the pickup here. I mean, are you happy about putting that card in your deck?
Not really. I'd much rather fill my deck up with, you know, a defensive creature like Snubhorn Sentry because in the late game, it actually is a pretty good deck. Whoa! Okay. All right. You have to be thrilled to get a Luminous Bonds. What is this, like 5th or 6th pick?
Yeah, he just snaps it off.
Yeah. And Bombard, too. This was an excellent pack.
And Recover, don't forget about that.
Oh, yeah, Recover, right. I mean, it is a 2-for-1, to be fair. It's a really strong card.
It is.
I was a little bit surprised at how highly you know, Paul Rietzel's team actually kind of regarded that card in general.
Yeah, Luminous Bonds, fantastic pickup here for Moscato, which, you know, I'm not quite sure which direction his deck is going in, even yet this deep into pack 2.
I think it's just like white, Ascend, and then cards. But he's got a lot of good cards, and that's a Baffling End and a Sailor of Means.
Wow.
And I imagine he's just going to take the Baffling End.
Yeah,
you know,
makes sense.
Just keep taking the white cards and figure out what you want to do later on.
Polyraptor hiding near the back.
Yeah,
we saw some shenanigans with that at Indianapolis.
Yeah, a Polyraptor with Forerunner of the Empire can do some pretty nasty things.
What did we have in place? 7 Polyraptors or something like that?
Something crazy. Just ask Frank Carson.
Oh, it was great.
Was that another Baffling End? Wow. All right, and the thing is, aura-based removal or enchantment-based removal is so strong because it allows you to hit Ascend. You know, I've just even heard of people talking about how they'd rather take a card like Waterknot or Luminous Bonds over Bombard, despite Bombard generally being considered a better card, or even a card like Impale. It's a hard removal spell, but if you want to hit Ascend, it's much nicer to have removal in the form of auras.
And a lot of times your deck isn't entirely built around Ascend, but you have incidental Ascend.
Exactly. So, you know, if the removal effects are close enough, might as well. And I think I'm looking at this Evolving Wilds here. There's not a lot else, and he wants to splash.
Evolving Wilds is the pick here. Taking a look through the final few cards here of pack number 2 for Moscato.
Yeah. So this pack is going reasonably well. I mean, he picked up 2 copies of Baffling End. He got a Luminous Bonds. He's got that Tendershoot Dryad. So, you know, a lot of great removal effects and a bomb. The real question is what's going to be a second color?
I know, right? Well, he's definitely playing that Tendershoot Dryad no matter what.
Yeah. He is either he's going to be green or he's going to be splashing. Interesting to see what he takes here, and it looks like he takes another copy of Snubhorn Sentry. That makes a lot of sense. He doesn't really have a lot of like 2-drops, for example, and I don't think he's like too thrilled to play Gleaming Barrier in his deck.
Right.
So any way to kind of replace that is nice.
Ooh, Sun Sentinel would be a good pickup for his deck. 2-drop Vigilance.
Yeah, you know, it's certainly like a curve filler card. It's playing out a little bit worse for me just because it doesn't really have a tribe, right? It doesn't have Ascend and it doesn't have a tribe. So, but it's there to just kind of fill a hole if you need another 2-mana card.
So here he's just kind of rounding things out. He could take this Negate or this Gleaming Barrier. He's going to go with the Negate, though. Yeah,
I don't think you're really happy ever playing 2 Gleaming Barriers, but you know, there are bombs in the format. We saw that Star of Extinction. We saw Profane Procession. Having access to like a copy of Negate is really nice. And I think that's really important when you draft, just making sure you pick up high-impact sideboard cards because, I mean, you play more sideboard games than game 1, right? If you see a deck with like multiple copies of Luminous Bonds, you want to demystify, you know, you want cards like that. So I do like taking higher impact sideboard cards than like cards that you're pretty unhappy putting into your deck.
And that's a really good point too, because I don't think people, especially newer drafters, give as much time and thought to what they're doing in their sideboard or sideboarding in general to say, you know, ship the same deck back when really it can make a monumental difference.
Yeah, like for example, if you have 8 2-mana 2/2s in your deck, you don't need another one. Take something else. Take a card that's going to go out, you know, that's going to have a high impact out of the sideboard.
All right, let's take a look through what Moscato has managed to put together through 2 packs. Like we said, heavyweight.
Looks kind of cool, actually.
I like it. I mean, these Snubborn Sentries are kind of doing it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're going to have 3 3s later in the game. He's going to get a send, no problem.
He does. And Snubborn Sentry is great. You know, it even synergizes. There are Dinosaur Manners cards in the next pack as well. You have the Pterodon Knight. That's just 4-mana 3/3 flyer, and then the Snubborn Sentry becomes a beater late in the game as well.
Yeah, so far he looks like he's just considering that Tender Shoot Dryad off of the splash. They're off of that one Sailor of Means. So I think we're going kind of in the direction of a blue-white.
Yeah. I highly doubt he's going to play that Moment of Craving at this point. I think I'd much rather just look to play the Forest and the Tender Shoot Dryad. I mean, at this moment, it's 3 Baffling Ends. Wow. Yeah, so, you know, the Demystify, pretty good against that Baffling End, right? So 3 Baffling Ends and a Luminous Bonds for removal. That's got to be that's amazing with the Snubborn Sentry. And does he have any other Ascend cards, or is that basically it? I
don't think he took anything like Secrets of the Golden City.
Right. So,
but he does have that, obviously, the Tender Shoot Dryad.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to stay open. Did he have that option with the Jungleborn Pioneer? He did.
Yes.
So that was like the one kind of I wasn't sure about that.
Pick.
Right. And oftentimes, if I want to go green-white, I think green-white, like I like kind of going green-white Dinosaurs a little bit higher up the curve.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm still reasonably happy here. He's almost mono-white. He's got a lot of great removal. He's got a bomb. So
I'm excited to see.
Pack. Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at what Moscato's going to open here in pack 3. Like we said, the doors are kind of wide open for him.
Right.
He could make a move if he needs to, if he opens an Insane Bomb, like...
Carnage Tyrant or something.
Hey,
you open Carnage Turn and just go green-white, I guess. Yeah, but he's pretty open. I mean, I think he's probably looking to still be blue-white, splashing the green there. But of course, you know, you're just still. I like the fact that he just looked at his rare right away first. He's like, it's like, what's my rare? He's like, nope.
I like it.
Play that one.
That's what I do too. Yeah. Territorial Hammerskull here pulled to the front along with Siren Lookout. Which of these 2 cards do you prefer? Well,
I think Territorial Hammerskull is a better card, but it kind of depends on the type of deck that you're looking to draft. Adriano Moscato's deck isn't really especially aggressive, and Siren Lookout does help you kind of hit your land drops. So yeah, I'm actually not sure. At the same time, it looks like he's kind of, when in doubt, gone for the white card. So I could see him maybe taking to Hammerskull, but it looks like he went for the Lookout instead, because his deck, he's got a bunch of Snubborn Sentries. He's not going to be attacking early, so that Territorial Hammerskull really isn't all that great there.
That makes sense. Siren Lookout was a great card from Ixalan.
Absolutely.
Still good here in Rivals of Ixalan.
Yeah, the fact that it's a pirate doesn't even matter. I think it's just an excellent card on rate.
Walk the Plank here. Well, it might be a little too late for that.
Yeah, a little difficult. Oh, but there's a Prosperous Pirates. That's like a super Sailor of Means. Yeah. Are
you giving any thought to the Bishop Soldier there in the back?
There is the Bishop Soldier, but I think, you know, I'm looking, he really didn't, he was unable to pick up those Sailor Means earlier in the draft. You want to be able to send, and the Prosperous Pirates gives you 3 permanents in 1 card. So I think that's just, you know, enough incentive. The Bishop Soldier is nice, and it's even nicer when you're playing Vampires, where you have multiple ways to pump it up, like the Glorifier and the Anointed Deacon.
Sure.
But just as a 2-mana 2/2 lifelink, it's good, but, you know, it's not the end of the world if you just play a Sun Sentinel there instead.
All right, what does he have here? Bellowing Aegisaur. There's another Bishop Soldier in this pack as well.
Yeah, and there's a Paladin of the Bloodstain, which does, again, put 2 permanents on the battlefield. He is not going super hard on the Ascend mechanic. He's got a couple of Stubborn Sentries, but I could see him either go for the Paladin of the Bloodstain here, or if he really feels like he needs a 2-drop, he could even decide to go for the Bellowing Aegisaur. Now,
Thundering Spineback
is a little bit ambitious, given that it's a double splash, and it also requires green mana to activate, so casting it off your treasures isn't really the greatest thing. But,
yeah, he's just going to go with the Paladin of the Bloodstain, which is definitely a good card, and when you're ascending, perhaps even a better card.
Yeah, it's a totally fine card. Just looking for ways to kind of flood the board with cards. Wow, and that Bishop of Rebirth went all the way to him.
There's a Pterodon Knight.
There is. But that Bishop of Rebirth is really powerful. He must be thrilled to get that. Although he really doesn't have a lot of cheap creatures in his deck, but I mean, it's still just a really great card.
It's getting those Snubhorn Sentries back?
Oh yeah, just over and over again. It's like, I thought I dealt with those. I thought I dealt with those Snubhorn Sentries. It's back. Sorry.
And now it's a 3/3.
Now it's a 3/3. This is a brand new archetype, mono white.
Yeah.
With light splashes.
Essentially.
Yeah. For a deck archetype, we'll just have like giant W and then just like a little G.
Tiny little G,
U.
tiny little blue.
Yeah.
So here we go. You've got a Raptor Companion, probably not interested, but there's a Pterodon Knight. Now might be the time he wants to pick that.
Yeah, Pterodon Knight actually seems like a reasonable pickup here. He does have a decent amount of dinosaurs, and you know he does need a way to kind of finish out the game, and it does give him evasion. So I could see him take that there. There's not a whole lot. Merfolk Branchwalker is a decent card, but I think he wants to be base blue-white. So Branchwalker, not a great splash card.
All right, well, he is going with the Raptor Companion here, which a lot of players seem to think is really kind of devolved in value from Ixalan.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good ways. You know, the value of Sailor Means has gone up, which means a lot of people are playing that. It gets brickwalled by a lot of things. Things like Dusk Legion Zealot, Martyr of Dusk kind of make the Raptor Companion look much worse. But at the same time, he did pick up that Bishop of Rebirth, so I think he was mindful of the fact that he needs more cheap cards to get back when he attacks.
All right, well, he's taking a search for Escanta here.
Huh.
Think that's going to end up in his deck?
I don't know. It's a little bit weird because he's got a lot of removal, but they're enchantment removal, right? The Search for Escanta is the type of card where you want the Bombards and the Impales to fill up your graveyard so you can flip it. But, you know, I mean, it is a powerful card, so I guess that's why he took it.
Shining Aerosaur, I think, is a great pickup for him here.
Yeah, he's got a ton of removal, and he does need a way to finish off the game. And, yeah, now he's got a couple of 5-mana flyers to kind of try to finish the game. So
he's kind of got like a white dinosaur army going on here.
White dinosaur control deck.
I like it.
Yeah.
We're seeing such different stuff with the addition of Rivals.
Oh yeah, this is great. I've seen a lot of creative decks. Well, one of my favorite decks that I've seen actually was Shuhei Nakamura drafting Blue-Black Skies.
Oh, that was so cool.
Favorable Winds main deck.
Oh.
That was awesome to see.
Didn't he at World Magic Cup draft like play a 3 favorable wins deck?
Maybe he just likes it. It's like if he's wrong, you know, he doesn't want to be right. One of those types of situations.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love when you can just kind of draft a unique masterpiece.
Right.
Rounding out the pack 3 here for Moscato, our lone 8-0 player here on day 2.
Yeah, and I'm really, you know, despite the fact that he doesn't really have, you know, big tribal synergies going on, you know, he's got a lot of great removal. He's got a few bombs, and you know, I think Adriano's got to be, you know, reasonably happy with kind of the collection of cards that he's picked up here.
And he was on a Rivals table yesterday and remained there for, I think it was something like 4 rounds, 5 rounds. He couldn't get knocked out. Yeah.
I mean, he said in that interview yesterday where he just wants to take that table home with him. It's his lucky table or whatever. So
that was great. Well, he's going to be moved over to our feature match table now this round, playing as our 8-0. So it'll be interesting to see this deck in action.
Oh, wow. What? Hey, there was that Pterodon Knight. Look at that.
Guess I didn't have to take it so early.
Yeah, you took the Raptor Companion and also the Pterodon Knight. So, you know, that's just a card you got late, and you're pretty happy putting that in your deck. So, or if you're Moscato, you're just...
Yeah, just... Nothing given away there in that face.
Yeah.
All right, Adriano Moscato, what do you make of this draft overall, Paul?
You know, I think he has a reasonable deck. He's got some bombs, he's got that removal, he's got some Ascend cards. So, you know, I think if I was Moscato, I'd kind of be expecting to go maybe 2-1 with the deck.
All right, well, we're going to get a chance to see this deck in action coming up very soon. First, we're going to take a brief break, and then we're going to hear the story of John Rolfe from Team Metagame Guro's Moon. He was top 8 at Pro Tour Ixalan, so that'll be interesting as well. Stay tuned.